Thanks, Deepak, so much for joining us. I'm really excited to host you on this AI and CX Leaders podcast. For our listeners, Deepak is the head of retail technology, contact center platforms, and GenAI Product Engineering at AT&T. He has a strong background in digital transformation and enterprise technology leadership. Deepak drives innovation across customer-facing and backend systems to enhance AT&T's retail experiences and service platforms. He oversees the development and integration of cutting-edge AI solutions, omnichannel contact center technologies, and scalable retail infrastructure, aligning with AT&T's strategic goals of operational efficiency and customer-centric design. He brings a deep expertise in product engineering, cloud-native architectures, and GenAI implementations. His leadership has been pivotal in advancing AT&T's use of intelligent automation and data-driven insights to deliver next-generation retail and support solutions. He's passionate about building high-performing teams. He fosters a culture of innovation and agility in delivering value at scale. Super excited to welcome you, Deepak, and thanks for making the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Ashish, for the invitation, and I'm really excited to be here.
Did I miss anything in your introduction?
No.
Any areas of your work background which you would double click on?
If I could add a little more color, I would say that I have spent last 20 years at the intersection of technology and business transformation. I started my journey as a developer in e-commerce, actually working on ATG Commerce, which was later acquired by Oracle. From there, I spent nearly a decade with Accenture, leading digital and technology transformation for global clients across various industries. That consulting experience gave me a great foundation in developing complex systems and scaling them to deliver business outcome and results for large enterprise. Over past 6 years at AT&T, I have had the opportunity to lead architecture, platform engineering across our human assist channel that include contact center, retail store, and field operations. My team focuses on building smart, scalable solutions that empower our frontline team to serve customer better and faster. Lately, a big part of my focus has been embedding GenAI into that ecosystem, using large language model to optimize both sales and service journey. Here we are talking about AI that can personalize customer interaction at real time, reduce friction for agent, drive operational efficiency at a scale. It's really about designing systems that are intelligent, responsive, and human-centered, and delivering the transformation across billions of customer interactions annually. And that's the kind of work that excites me, and it's where I have been spending more time recently.
That's fascinating. So one question, Deepak, for you was, I'm just curious, when you talk about contact center and retail experiences together, talk to us a little bit about how are you and your teams and AT&T in general is thinking about that? Because AT&T is one of the most well-known brands in the world, especially in America, but it has an incredible digital and a physical presence, which is very unlike, a lot of brands. So how are you thinking about creating this kind of seamless experiences on both sides? What are some of the challenges around it? And what does your work around that look like? Yeah,
it's a great question, and honestly, it's one of the most complex and exciting part of our work. If you look at the history of most large enterprise, including AT&T, systems supporting contact center and retail store were built independently. Legacy platforms were optimized for call center and retail store and our digital platform. And even though they're all hooked up into same backend system, like billing system and account system, and then that's why your sales journey in a store can feel very different from service interactions over the phone or your self-service flow online. I think we all have experienced it. You call in and then walk into a store and try to finish something digitally. It feels like starting over. In today's world, the customer is expecting much more from us. They expect enterprise to be smart, to understand who they are, anticipate their need, and provide a consistent, connected experience across every touch point. And that's the heart of the challenge. Omnichannel isn't just about connecting systems. It's about delivering seamless human experience at a massive scale. We serve millions of customers daily across voice, retail, chat, and digital. And so stakes are very high. It's not just about efficiency. It's about trust, loyalty and the brand consistency. And our focus on breaking down these silos, reimagining customer journeys so they feel intuitive and unified, no matter where the interaction start. That means designing platform that work across channel, leveraging AI to personalize in real time, and constantly asking this question to ourselves: that this work really feel like the one brand, or does it deliver a three different experiences? And that's where both challenges and opportunity lie.
When you started on this journey of building the seamless experience, omni-channel experience, as you said, which were some of, how did you folks prioritize what to attack? What are the top areas for you to focus on and for your teams to focus on? Was this ease of time to market, how quickly can we solve some low-hanging fruit and sort of impact to the enterprise, impact to the customer experience? And then what were some of those areas? If you can share, yeah.
Yeah, that's such an important question. And honestly, prioritization is one of the toughest part of this journey, especially at the scale we operate. Creating a truly seamless omni-channel experience starts with the foundation. And that's where many enterprises underestimate the challenge. You simply can't deliver a world-class front-end experience on top of the fragmented legacy infrastructure. So for us, the first step was being honest about what needed to fix under the hood. That meant looking at our core systems, our data architecture, how disconnected and siloed our operations were across retail, digital, and contact center. We knew we had to invest in building a unified orchestration layer, something that could stitch together those different systems, allow for real-time context sharing, and support journey continuity. You can't claim to be omni-channel if customer has to reintroduce themselves every time they switch channel. Now that said, we didn't wait to perfect everything before delivering the value. We took a very MVP first mindset. We asked, where can we deliver the most immediate impact for our customer and for our frontline team? And that helped us sequencing our roadmap, tackling low-hanging fruit like agent assist, call summarization, or guided workflow, while simultaneously investing into a platform capability that would allow us to scale it. It's really a two-lane approach. One focus on delivering quick wins and build trust with the business, and the other focus on laying the groundwork for long-term enterprise-grade transformation. So yes, speed matters, but sustainability and customer value always come first.
That makes sense. And so you build that underlying Omni sort of orchestration layer data platform. From an application perspective, were there certain use cases which the customer experience team, the store team, or the contact center team was prioritizing that, hey, we want to put a bot up front, or we want to create a very seamless checkout experience? Were there certain features and use cases which your teams are prioritizing?
Absolutely. And what really exciting is how the definition of channel has evolved. If you rewind 4 or 5 years, channel was still seen separate. We had contact center, retail, digital, each with their own flows and application. But today, we truly in an omni-channel world, where GenAI and AI playing a pivotal role in stitching these experiences together in a way that just were not possible before. We have a massive backlog, literally thousands of use cases, but we prioritize based on the two things: customer value and friction point across the journey. It's all about meeting the customer where they are and delivering value, whether they're online, in a store, or on phone. That's the kind of innovation we are driving with AI at the core. Let me give you some real example. Say customer starts a transaction online and they add something to their cart and they don't complete it. Maybe they walk into a store or start a chat or even a call with an agent. Historically, each of these interactions felt disconnected. But with GenAI in play, we can now summarize that digital interaction, pass the context in real time to an agent or a store rep, allow them to pick up the conversation seamlessly. No repeat questions, no backtracking. That's really omni-channel continuity powered by AI. And we are also looking at the transformative use case. One that particularly I was excited about is like having a digital avatar. Imagine bringing a real store into customer's living room. Human-like virtual assistant. Think of it as a lifelike agent, guide the customer through product selection, compare options, answer questions in real time, even hand off to human when needed. It's not about replacing people. It's about augmenting the experience so that it can be high touch, efficient, and accessible 24/7. And what interesting is that the customer perception is also shifting to a few years ago, people would say, I don't want to talk to a bot or just connect me to an agent. But now, with these advanced GenAI powered experience, we've started to hear opposite. Like people are saying, that was smooth, that was helpful. Honestly, I didn't even realize that I was talking to a digital assistant. Now you can enjoy guilt-free conversation with a human-like virtual assistant. Ask anything you like, even if you are just browsing and not ready to buy. That's phenomenal.
100%. No, that's true. Actually, that's a good point. You can window shop the heck out of it. Switching gears, Deepak, when in an organization at AT&T scale, right, with, I'm assuming, a massive global customer service footprint, multiple business units, multiple stakeholders involved, two questions. How do you must be getting a lot of ideas, as you said, thousands of use cases, right? And there's a lot of noise these days as well at every exec level, as like, can we do this with AI or some other use case, right? Talk to me a little bit about bringing in reality and prioritization to some of these use cases. What feedback do you give to your product teams, their operations teams, and so on, to say like, this we can do over the next 6 months. This is a year from now. How do we think about customer impact? So sense of prioritization around these things.
Honestly, it's not easy to prioritize use case when everything looks promising. Every team comes with idea backed by strong ROI projection. And with GenAI mix, the volume and excitement has gone through the roof. But what we have done is we have put in place a structured governance framework that brings some order to this chaos. We evaluate each use case on 3 core dimensions. The first one is customer impact. Is it solving a real pain point or improving an experience across the touch point? We also look at the technical feasibility and readiness. Can we build it using what we already have in place, or does it require foundational work? And the third one is time to value. Like how quickly can we deploy, learn, and iterate on this? That feed into our 2-lane approach that I mentioned before. And there is a fast lane. This is where we focus on quick wins. Things like LLM-based agent assist, call summarization using GenAI, smart intent detection, better search for agent. These are all modular API-based services that we can plug into our existing platform pretty fast. This can create immediate value without disrupting core systems. And more importantly, it let us enhance customer experience today. Then there is a code lane which more strategic and longer runway. This is where we are modernizing our core platform, CRM, orchestration layer, especially our data infrastructure and pipeline. We are building things like semantic data layer, integrating real-time events, making sure everything is compliant and scalable. It is a little slower lane, but it is what enabled true native AI experience on infrastructure for a long-term win, like proactive customer services and dynamic journey orchestrations. That's a few examples. But now the trick is to connect these 2 lanes. The fast lane built the momentum and trust. It shows business that AI is not just a hype. And the core lane is what ensures that we don't hit a wall 6 months or a year later. You got to do both in parallel. create a guardrail and governance framework so these two lane inform and support each other. So to your question, yes, we get a lot of noise, but once we ground our conversation in terms of customer value, technical readiness, short-term and long-term impact, it become a lot easier to say, let's do this now or let's stage this for later.
A related question to that, totally understood, totally agree and appreciate your point of view. We sometimes think when people ask me about the GenAI transformation, we talk about, on-prem to cloud, especially in the contact center. It's a very logical choice. Makes so much sense in terms of ROI, speed of doing business, but it took 10 to 15 years and is still in the mid journey, I would say, in terms of maturity. How do you think about the AI transformation? Are you giving it, you mentioned the core workflows versus the fast lane, right? You have been massive business, which has been running on these core workflows for decades, right? Are you giving it 5 years to transform it, 10 years, 5 months? How do you think about this in the enterprise? Because there's a lot of talk about it, but at scale and at complexity, when these things, really get implemented, I think there's a lot to do there.
Yeah, that's such a good point of view. And I love the comparison. On paper, moving contact center to cloud made total sense. Better ROI, more agility. But in reality, the journey has taken 10 to 15 years for many companies. And AI is kind of going down a similar path, but even with more hype and a lot more pressure to move fast. So how do I look at this? Honestly, it's both a sprint and a marathon. There are things you can do right away. As I mentioned before, we have done things like, using GenAI to summarize the call, detect intent, and do some smart routing, create many agent assist capabilities. These are high impact use case that don't need a complete overhaul. They help you, deliver some quick wins, get by in more time, and show that the AI is not just a buzzword. It's delivering real value. But, it's a big but, if your core infrastructure is not ready, if your data is scattered across 20 systems, and if your platform were not built with keeping the real-time AI in mind, then it's really hard to scale. You can't just sprinkle AI on top of legacy systems and expect magic to happen. So we are taking, again, there's a two-track approach. One track that focused on speed, delivering what we can do today. Other is about building a long haul, modernizing your data infrastructure, pipeline, rethinking orchestration layer, making sure AI has access to clean, real-time data and then what it needs to deliver the value. Because here's the thing, AI is only as good as the data and the system underneath. If you don't get that right, you will hit a wall pretty fast. So no, we are not saying 5 months and we are done, but we are also not waiting 5 years to show progress. We are sequencing it, delivering value now while investing in foundational what that will carry us forward. And that's how we are thinking about it, like a momentum in a short term and durability in the long term.
Could not agree with that more, Deepak. One of the things which we talk about is it's not the AI, it's the API. First, do you have an API for it? And if you have an API or clean data or underlying data tables or data infrastructure or whatever, if that is clean, you can do all kinds of AI on it. So maybe I'm putting you on the spot. If you had to pick 3 obstacles to AI adoption, all right? You talked about the data infrastructure and data pipeline. Other 2 obstacles to AI adoption in CX, what would make your list? The top 3, and you can go longer also.
Yeah, totally agree on API. It's not just about the AI. If your APIs are not ready and your data is all over the place, no AI model is going to save you. That's where a lot of struggle comes in for most of the enterprises. If I had to call out top 3 blocker for AI adoption, I would certainly start with data and infrastructure. That is the foundation. if your data is sitting in 10 different siloed system and not cleaned and hard to access, AI won't have anything useful to work with. It's like trying to build a house without bricks. You need clean data, connected system, and solid API to even get started. That's where we spend ton of time on feature engineering and identifying all the parameters that you need to have a really good AI outcome. Second, I would also talk about stakeholder management and expectation. A lot of people think AI is the magical feature and plug it in and boom, everything works. But it's not that simple. AI is a journey. You need to set a clear expectation early on, what it can do now versus what's going to take time. Otherwise, people get frustrated or disappointed when result doesn't match the hype. And third one, I would certainly highlight about like change management. That's a big one. AI changes how people work, not just the tool they're using to do their work. So if your business team, your frontline agent, your operation folks are not involved from the start, it's hard to drive real adoption. You can't just build something in technology team in silo and then try to sell it to business and roll it out later. It has to be a one team effort from day one. So in short, like get your data house in order, set a realistic expectation, and bring your people with you, and that's how you move the cool demos to real production.
100%. So your top three list would be data orchestration, data infrastructure, expectation management with broad stakeholders, and then change management, again, with the business teams, the operations teams. That was actually a question which I had for you, because change management is such a big part of it, especially for folks like us who come from product and technology. But correct me if I'm wrong, at AT&T scale, especially on the CX side, you have 50,000, 100,000 people who any small or big change you make, they have to be enabled, trained, get accustomed to it in this new world, in this new workflows, in these new engagement approaches. What have you seen work there in terms of change management? And I know you might have separate operating teams which are doing the enablement and change management, but in terms of your product and technology teams aligning or working with these operations teams, what works, what doesn't work? This is the top question which we see from leaders, on how do I can do this better? I made a technology choice. I love this, right? Right. But that's 20% of it. It'll be implemented, and now 50,000 people have to use it.
Yeah, at organization our size, when you have more than 100,000 people using system daily, change is not a small thing. Even the smallest shift in workflow can feel massive at this scale. And especially in this AI era, I really believe we have to stop thinking of this as just a technology transformation, because it's just not about changing how we interact with system and automating few steps or flow. We are actually changing how we do business. We are reimagining processes, redesigning workflow, and reshaping how people make decisions. It's a full-on business transformation enabled by technology. Now on the change management side, here's what I've learned. The best change is the one people don't even realize they're going through it. So if you can build something that just fit into their flow of work, no big learning curve, no clunky UI, and that's where adoption becomes natural. We saw that with Agent Assist. We did not have to push it hard, and agent wanted to use it because it really helped and made their job a lot easier. It gave suggestion, helped summarize their work, took a lot of mental load off, and that's the true about these AI initiative. And what I believe, like AI work best when it is invisible to end user. People should not feel like they're using an AI tool. They should just feel like things work better, faster, and smarter. And that's when you have nailed it. Think about how you use apps like Spotify and YouTube. AI is doing all kind of heavy lifting in the background, but as a user, it just feels seamless. That's exactly what we are trying to create with enterprise AI. Make it simple, intuitive experience where our users just say, wow, that's easy. So I will just say three things, build solutions that are simple and helpful. Most importantly, treat this not as a tech upgrade, but as a business transformation, and make AI invisible but impactful. Customers should feel understood and served. And that's a mindset shift, and it's helping us move the needle at scale.
That's a wonderful answer. Could not agree with you more. And we often think about this. Yeah, we often think about this in the old paradigm again. There's a change management program, enablement, and massive training sessions. But if it's so simple to use and it's magical, then we can skip a lot of those steps. And we have seen that in some of our work recently, where we launch a product and we would observe customers just using it. And we didn't train them, but they're diving into it because there's a latent need. It's super simple, and they're able to navigate their way because also with AI now, because either voice or chat, if that's a modality, we as human beings are very well trained on that modality. Like ChatGPT made that for all of us. The expectation became is just be a natural language query, and that changes anything. Now you don't need to learn a workflow. You just need to know what to ask, right?
I'll tell you something from our side. When we roll out a new capability to our contact center teams, we always ask to ourselves, does this actually help them do their job better? Because for an agent, success means handling a customer issue quickly, making sure that the customer leaves satisfied. In a store, it might be closing a sale or helping somebody walk out with exactly what they came for. Their day to day is very fast paced. They are measured on outcome. They're not measured on what AI driven or AI powered fancy tool they're using. So if we give them something that save time, reduce friction, and help them deliver a better experience, they will adopt it naturally. We won't have to push it. Why would they resist something that really helped them? But here's the important part. Sometimes we, as a tech leader, we think that we are solving a problem, but many times we are not close enough to the real pain. I have had moment where I thought, that's it, we cracked it. Then I sat in a contact center, I listened to real call, spent time in the store, and then I realized that we made improvement, sure, but did we fully solve the problem? In some cases, we even added more friction. So honestly, that field time, that's where the real learning happened. That's when you see what's working, what's not. And when you get that part right, change management become a whole lot easier.
That is such a good point, Deepak. Could not agree with you more. And that is where, the feedback from the end user, there are so many chains in this buying process or the implementing process. The person who bought the tool had one goal, and by the time it goes to the agent or the person on the front line, they are the ones who need to be empowered and see ease of use or benefit in their own day to day. And if they see it then in a simple way, then why wouldn't they? Right? And it's back on the product. Maybe one last question. You have an interesting mix of working in consulting, especially in digital transformation, and now working in a large one of the top companies in the world. What would be the role of system integrators and large consulting companies, like the ecosystem in this AI wave? I think about this a lot. We think about this a lot because, to your point, in one way, if we make products so simple that it does not require this massive digital transformation, ERP system implementations will go on for years, we don't need a lot of this. But at the same time, there's a lot of enabling infrastructure to be built. As you said, the APIs, not the AI, right? Where can these companies play a role? Because again, for our CX leaders, CEOs, COOs who are thinking about this, like, who else do I partner with to implement this in my organization? So talk to us a little bit about that.
That is such a timely question and something I think about a lot, especially having spent a good part of my career in consulting before moving into enterprise side. To me, system integrators and consulting partners still have a huge role to play. But that role is evolving. In past, these were like 18-month ERP and CRM rollout or a massive transformation program that required deep engineering lift and 1,000 hours of custom development. But in this new GenAI driven world, things are moving much faster. What used to take 6 months can now be done in 6 weeks. And in some cases, you can do that work in days. That doesn't mean the work disappears. It means the nature of the work changes. Today, we are solving problems faster using out-of-the-box connectors, AI-enabled tooling, and a platform like Snowflake, Salesforce that integrate almost seamlessly. For example, we now have Salesforce directly integrated with Snowflake using native pipeline, something that used to require complex ETL job, custom middleware, and months of integration. Now we can get the data in real time, use it for live sentiment analysis or operational insight during the call, not after. So instead of just implementing system, consulting partners now have to focus on value orchestration. How do you bring AI, data, business context together to solve real problem faster? And you also seeing new role emerging like prompt engineers or AI model trainers that did not even exist a year ago. So there is a whole new ecosystem forming, consultancies that lean into that bring those as accelerators, Gen AI integration strategies, data governance at a scale. Those are the one will definitely thrive. If I'm a CEO and CIO today, I'm asking like who can help me accelerate learning and adoption, who can bring reusable asset, pre-trained model, and real world implementation pattern. Because at the end of the day, this wave is not about replacing people. It's about unlocking productivity and solving previously unsolvable problems. And to do that at scale, you will still need great partner, just with a different mindset and new playbook.
That's a great point. This deeper work, getting to things which we could not get to before, broader impact. It's just doing it more efficiently, but there is a long list of things to be done, and the role will continue to become relevant. It's the nature of it will change, the speed and depth of it will change. Yeah.
And I would add one more thing based on what I'm seeing in field. A lot of the big transformation I have led in the past, whether CRM and ERP or large scale platform shift, took years. And they were not always linear. You would plan, design, and build for years, and then midway, some new technology or business shift would force a reset. And that's just the nature of enterprise transformation. But now with Gen AI and modern cloud technology architecture, the entire cycle is compressing. We can experiment faster, validate faster, pivot quickly when we see something is not working. The feedback loop between technology, business, and customer experience is much tighter. And that's a game changer. So the value is not just in doing things faster. It is learning faster, adjusting in the real time, and being able to capture value early in the life cycle. And that unlocks a different kind of productivity, deeper, more strategic work that simply wasn't possible before.
There is this word of big data Gen AI and small data Gen AI. What I mean is your scale, which you just mentioned, right? 1 million a day has 300 million conversations a year, more than that, right? No OpenAI model, no model can take that with and ensure throughput, latency, cost effectiveness, and so on, right? So do you think that exists? And like, how do you architect systems which are at big data AI scale as opposed to small data AI, which is like you're writing a marketing blog, right? And even if AT&T, you don't write 300 million marketing blogs, you write 5,000, 2,000, 10,000, right? You can do that with OpenAI or some other system, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I love how you framed it. Big data AI versus a small data AI. That's such an important distinction. At our scale, millions of customer interaction daily, hundreds of million annually. It's just not practical to run every conversation through a giant foundational model like GPT-4. It's not just a cost, which can be massive. It's also a throughput, latency, and reliability. We have seen cases where cost of running AI on a call actually exceed the cost of call itself. So from an ROI perspective, that doesn't make sense. And then there's a performance aspect of it. A model might be smarter, but if it takes 10 seconds to generate a response, that's too long in real-time experience. The customer is already disengaged by then. So when we are doing, and what I think more enterprise will need to do is re-architecting the AI stack to be more efficient and use case specific. Instead of trying to push everything through one massive model, we are thinking more modular. In many cases, we are using smaller domain-specific models that can run faster at the edge or even on the device. We are also exploring open source model that we can fine-tune and host ourselves so we can have more control over performance and cost. I think the future will look like in a hybrid setup where you will have a central powerful model that handle more complex tasks. Then you will have a lighter, faster model distributed across system, optimized for specific functions like summarization, routing, and intent detection. The key is to match the right model to the right use case. Not every problem need a billion parameter solution. Sometimes a smaller, well-trained model will get the job done faster, cheaper, and just as accurately. So in enterprise AI at scale, you can't take one size fit all approach. You have to be thoughtful about architecture, cost model, and the latency requirement, and design the system in a way that actually support your business, not just, demos that we see.
Could not agree with that more, Deepak. We talk about 4 Ps: performance, privacy, personalization, and payback. Performance is throughput, latency. Personalization we talked about, privacy we talked about, and then payback, right? Like if you're, to your point, if you're investing more in the LLM than the cost of the call, what's the payback, right? And one of the things which we do, we own every part of the LLM stack. So we have built these CX-specific LLMs, which are self-hosted, self-created, for each thing like summarization, entity redaction, and so on, that can scale infinitely almost, because we own our GPU cluster too, which can perform at that scale and can take hundreds of millions or billions of data points, and we don't depend on other parties' infrastructure, and we can control the payback for you, because we're delivering the end service and not just the LLM call, right? The end service could be anything: agent assist, search, auto QA, whatever, right? One thing which we are exploring with some very large companies like yourself is that we can give you those CX specific LLMs, these specific smaller LLMs which are trained for, and you can host it in your environment. We will enable you with everything, and you can build subsystems on top, or we can even build systems on top for you. And it could be summarization, it could be redaction or whatever. I'm just talking shop now, but that's something which exactly the vision you outlined is what I think is scales for organizations like AT&T. I really appreciate the contact. Thank you so much, Deepak. This is wonderful.